So today's topic is methods. See, why methods? Because we visited methods for methods overloading and constructor overloading. We discussed the methods there. Today we are going to discuss more about methods and also what are the different types of methods that can be used as part of programming. So let us see the methods which are available in Java according to the last class. That is, one method is static method. Next methods are instance methods. Okay, there are other methods are also available, but mostly we will be accessing these kind of methods, that are static methods and instance methods. So instance methods, coming to the instance methods, as part of instance methods are nothing but which will access instance variables. An instance method which is supposed to access instance variables, they are called as instance methods. As part of instance methods, there are two groups. They are accessor methods, mutator methods. What are they? According to instance methods, they are two separate methods are available for us, that they are called as, they are grouped into two categories: accessor methods, mutator methods. So what are they? We will see. So what are accessor methods? Accessor methods are the methods that simply accesses or reads the contents of the instance variables. So the purpose of access methods are to access or to read the instance variables. Reading the instance variables is nothing but just to get the values from it. And according to accessor methods, they cannot modify the instance variables values. Try to understand here. Accessor methods are not supposed to modify the contents of the instance variables. So who will be assigning values to those variables called as instance variables? I repeat once again, what are accessor methods? Accessor methods are nothing but they will access instance variables, and these methods cannot modify the contents of the variables called as instance variables. So this is about accessor methods. Next we will see mutator methods. These methods can access instance variables, along with they can modify them also. So mutator methods are responsible for changing the contents of the instance variables or modifying the contents of the instance variables. So according to instance methods, there are two categories are available for us. First one is accessor, second one is mutator. According to accessor, they can read or access the contents of the variables. Mutator methods not only accessing the variables, but also they can modify the contents according to mutator. So this is what we can know about the instance methods and their categories. So let us see one example. What are the methods which are called as accessors and mutators? So here you can see there is a method name called as set name, set age, set name and set age. Set age and set name are methods which are called as mutator methods. They are called as mutator methods because they are trying to assign some value to them. They are trying to modify the contents. So these two methods are called as mutator methods. Next, we have get name, get age. These are the two methods which can be categorized into accessor methods. So accessor methods, just they will read the contents of the variables. They will read the contents of the variables according to accessor methods. Okay, this is one sample program regarding accessor methods and mutator methods. So next, not only methods have normal parameters, but also we have parameters in the form of objects also. Try to understand here. Methods, like let us say that int add of int comma int. Here we can say this in this prototype, add function or add method is accessing two integer variables, and they are returning in the form of the result of this two variables operation is integer, in the form of integer. So these are the normal way of passing parameters to a method. But in this, according to the topic which I am going to discuss, that is passing objects to the methods. So if it is a method, so here I can pass objects. So let us say that what is happening here? If add is a method, if integer is a class, I is an object, j is an object. Okay, not only normal variables, we can also pass objects as parameters to the methods. So that is what our topic. So let us see what are they through the program. So objects may be passed to the methods. How? So you can see from this code, I think everyone able to see this one. So this is a class, this is a sample program which is demonstrating that method can also get parameters in the form of objects. So here you observe we have a class called as test. In this we have variables called as int a comma b. After that it contains one constructor which contains two parameters, that is I and j, and a and b will get the values of I and j by using a constructor which is initializing. It means they are instance variables. A and b are instance variables. So these values can be supplied at the time of creating an object. Okay, next we have one more method, that is boolean type. Return type is boolean, equals is a method. So it is getting an object as parameter, that is test class. We have a class test here and we have a class test here. O will be the object which is supplied as a parameter to the equals method, which returns the result in the form of boolean. Next, inside the equals method, we are trying to compare the values of A and B based on the objects supplied at the time of creating or at the time of comparing the two objects. The major purpose of this program is to compare two objects whether they contain the same values or not. So equals is a method which is trying to compare two objects data. Let us say that if first object contains some data, second object contains some data. we will see that whether both data which are part of both objects are same or not. So if it is same, it will return true. If it is not same, it will return false. So let us come to the main method, that is class pass object, in which we will write the main method. So this is a class for this is a class to compare two objects, the code for comparing two objects. This is the code for comparing two objects as well as initializing the constructors also. Initializing the instance variables also through the constructors. So here we will try to operate on these objects, the class objects. Which class objects? Test class objects. We will be creating obj1, ob1, ob2, ob3 are the three objects we are trying to create here. So first object ob1 will get values 122. It means A is 100, B is 22 according to the constructor which is available in the class. Now this is about first object. Now second object, let us see. Second object is created with values 122. So they will get the values, same values which are supplied at the time of creating the second object also. We are passing same values here. And now the next statement contains the object's creation of test class, that is the third object, which gets the value like -1 and -1. Okay, so now you can see from this code that there are three objects. There are three objects. How many objects are there? Three objects are there. ob1 contains which values? 100 comma 22. Next, ob2 contains 100 comma 22. Next, ob3 contains -1 comma -1. So according to these three lines of code, these are the things which have been decided. Now in this statement, we are comparing ob1 to ob2 by using equals method. Okay, equals is a method which is part of test class, so we need to create an object for the test class. Through that object we are trying to access a method. Okay, now ob1 dot equals of ob2, it means ob1 100 comma 22 equals ob2 of 100 comma 22. Are they same? Yes, they are same. So it will return true. So that is what the value which will be displayed, true. It will be displaying true here. Next statement you observe here, ob1 to ob3. There are two objects, that is the first and third object we are comparing. The first object contains 100 comma 22. The third object contains -1 comma -1. So what happens here? They will be comparing A to A, B to B. A contains 100 here, A contains -1 here. B contains 22 here, B contains -1 here. So they are not equal. So it returns false. It returns false. I think everyone understood this program regarding passing objects to the methods. Not only passing objects to the methods is possible, but also we can return objects to the methods also. We can also return methods to the objects. Okay. So this is what we have. Now next topic is returning objects. Returning objects is nothing but let us discuss. Let us assume that int returning is nothing but something like this. So if we have a method like this, by operating these two variables, we will get one result that is in the form of integer. That is what return type, returning. So after calculating this this method, they will be supplied to the main method. The main method will call this add method. So what does it return? It will return the result in the form of integers. So I'm giving a sample example here. So let us see what happens in this returning objects. This is regarding normal variables. Just now we discussed it is regarding normal variables. When it comes to the objects, what happens? So there is one more example is there. So let us see what happens here. Let us. So you observe here there is a class, the same class name which has been seen in the passing objects as a parameters to the method. Now here we are trying to return the objects from the method. Okay, returning objects to the main method. You know this construct, that is class test is there. There is one variable which is called as instance variable, which contains a constructor which is accepting, which is trying to initialize an instance variable a. And next we have a method called as increment by 10. We have a method called as increment by 10, which is returning a value in the form of object. You try to see here test. Test is an class name here. So if your this method is trying to access objects, increment by 10 is operating on objects. So what does it return when objects have been processed? Then it returns, this method will return object. To catch that object, there should be a return type called as a class. So objects belongs to classes. That is what mean to say. So here we are creating a temporary object which will be which will be initializing, or which is trying to call the constructor a. It will get the value from a, and a plus 10 will be supplied to it. Okay, then this method will return temporary, temp, which is called as object. So whenever a main method is calling this method, then it will get an object with incremented value. Okay, let us see in the main method. So this is, we have a class and we have a main method over here. So we are creating ob1 object which contains a value 2, that is a is assigned a value 2. Okay, a is assigned a value by 2. In this statement we are creating second object, and we are trying to call increment by 10 based on first object. Okay, we are trying to call the increment by 10 method by using first object. So what is the value inside the ob1? What is the value inside the ob1? Inside ob1 we have a value 2 which is assigned to a. So based on this object we are trying to call this method. So this method will be accessing a value 2, that is 10 plus 2. 10 plus 2. Okay, increment by 10 method will be called here, and the result, okay, the result will be, after processing this method, the result of this method will be stored into ob2, that is a contains 2. Okay, a contains 2. So 10 plus 2 is nothing but 12. So that is the value which is supplied to the object called as temporary. So we are creating a new object over here, temporary object, which contains 12. That will be returned by this method over here. OB2 contains the contents which have been supplied after processing this method. So a plus 2 is nothing but 12 will be part of OB2. So from this operation we can say that OB1 equals to 2, that is OB1 dot A, because initially we supplied a value OB1 dot A equals to 2. Next, after calculating the OB1, so what does temp contain? Temp dot A will contain a value, dot A will contain a value called as 12, which has been supplied to OB2. OB2 equals to temp. Okay, this is what is happening by this operation. This is what is happening here. So temp contains 12, so that will be the part of OB2. So here OB1, we are displaying OB1 dot A, next OB2 dot A. After that, we are trying to change the value again based on OB2 dot 10. So what happens? Already OB2 contains 12 plus increment by 10. So what is the value of OB2A? OB2A will contain 22 value. Okay. Initially we got a value that is 12 over here. Now in the second operation, when we called increment by 10 on OB2 value. So what is the value inside the OB2? 12. So OB2 equals to, we are trying to change the content over here. So OB2 dot increment by 10 means already 12 will be there as part of OB2, plus we will be having plus 10 will be done over here. So this operation will be performed inside increment by 10 method. So what is the value inside the OB2 after completing this instruction execution? So we will get 22 as the value for the third statement. This is the value which will be displayed. So this is what the concept is, returning an object. So here we are returning, after processing this method, we are returning some object that will be accessed or assigned to this. The contents of the objects will be assigned to this object. I think everyone understood this program. So let us see one more topic, an important topic. So let us see one important topic called as so this is an important topic. So what do you mean by this? Accepting input from keyboard. Accepting input from keyboard is nothing but we are trying to assign values to the variables. Either they may be instance variables or any kind of a variables. We are trying to assign values at the at the execution time. Okay. At the runtime of a program, we are supposed to supply the values through the keyboard. That is, until now we have seen some of the programs which which contains the data which have been supplied by the methods as parameters. We didn't use the user point of executing a program. So if you are a programmer, you try to understand the situation that every user wants to give some input to the program so that he can process some data and get some output from it. So that is a major issue here or major topic here. So how we can give input from keyboard? Input from keyboard is nothing but at runtime we are supposed to give the values. How we can say that in in C++ or in C, let us consider C language. In C, we have used scanf function. Yes or no? Scanf. In C++, we used something like C in, something like this, I think. Okay, these are the two ways. In C, it is a function. In C++, it is a string. Okay. Now, what is there in Java? Either function or string. So, according to Java, if you want to take value from the user through the keyboard, so they can be accepted only through streams. What are they? Streams. So there are different types of streams are available in Java. They are input streams, output stream. What are they? Input streams and output stream. Input streams and output streams. So input stream is for receive the data from the keyboard. Output stream is to send the data onto the screen. Okay, I think everyone knows this thing. That is, input stream is to send the data from the keyboard, that is receiving the input from the user. Output stream is to display the contents which have been supplied by the programmer through input stream. So for that we need output stream. So according to Java, there are different types of streams. Those streams are represented in variety of ways by using classes and variables. So as part of Java, there are input streams represented by system.in. Okay. Next, output streams are represented by system.out as well as system.err. Okay. So try to understand here. Whenever we are trying to use a member operator followed by some name. So before, that is a member operator preceded by a class name and succeeded by a name, is this is nothing but a variable. This is variable, this is variable. So whenever you are trying to call a variable with the class name, then that variable name is called as, which type of a variable is that one? I want answer from you people. If you are calling a variable or if you are representing a variable through the class name, then what sort of a variable is that one? Write in the chat box. Make it fast. We have left with 4 minutes. Write in the chat box. If any variable is called along with the class name. So what is that variable called as? See, when I ask questions, some very good, roll number 2, very good. That is static variable. So in is a static variable, out is a static variable, ERR is a static variable. So system.in will represent which type of a stream? Input stream class object. So system.in will be getting an object. Okay, system.in will receive one object from a class called as input stream class. This is a class. Okay, so input stream class object is represented using system.in. So next, this one gets an object from print stream class. So this is what the input stream and output stream, where they get from objects. They represent one object. Okay. So system.out, system.err, these two are belonging to print stream class objects. So print stream class objects are represented by system.out as well as system.err. Now system.in will be behaving an object of input stream class. Okay, I think this is enough for today. I will discuss accepting input from keyboard in the next class. With that, we will be completing the first unit also. Okay, if first unit is completed, we will be discussing about more arrays, inheritance, polymorphism, some of the important topics. So from the next class onwards, you have to be regular, because we are going to discuss the subject much more and also very interesting topics. So I repeat, this accepting from input from keyboard. So in C++, in C language we have scanf, in C++ we have cin, but according to Java we have streams. The streams may be of two varieties, that is input stream and output stream. The input stream is represented as system.in, which will represent an object which belongs to a class called as input stream class, and as well as output system.out will represent one object of print stream class to send the data to the screen. Similarly, system.err will represent output object of print stream class. So this is all for today. Thank you. Thank you one and all.